All right, welcome. This is going to be the analysis of John Fecik. I've coached him for a long time. This is probably his third or fourth time at the camp, and we're just going to go over what we worked on at the session we did. And we did two sessions while he was here. I kind of combined a little bit of the two, so you can kind of see some of the differences and what we were able to highlight and work on while he was here. So here we go. So here you see, he's got pretty good body position here. A little bit tight up in the upper body, but, hips and shoulders are moving pretty well together. Hips are a little bit low, feet are a little bit lower, but that's pretty common in the endless pool because what the endless pool is going to do is here's the current holding you in place. Some of the current's going to come over the back and then kind of push your back end down. Now, what that's going to give us is a pretty good idea of, hey, is there enough engagement in the core and enough connection with the legs to lift all of that up? And that's really what we're trying to do. Look, it's body position, body position, body position. So you can kind of see, here's the angle right here. We'll get them flat. So you can see that angle on the water. So then all of this now is drag. When we'd prefer everything to be as flat as possible so that the only thing that we have then is just frontal drag. We don't have any kind of the back portion of the body contributing to that drag. So here you can see, if we slow it down just a little bit, you'll be able to see kind of the movement, how there's, tends to be a lot of movement kind of in the lower portion of the body. There's a little bit too much movement kind of side to side. It looks like he's straining against maybe some tightness down in the hips when he goes to reach. So you can see like right here. So there he goes to reach. And you can see kind of how everything just, there's a big movement here. We got this kind of movement and then some of that. Keep on going forward a little bit. And then there's a little bit more, you can see kind of that angle right there in his shoulders as he reaches out with the right. But then when we come to the left, we don't, the shoulders tend to be a little bit more flat, which is fine. I mean, that would be good to see because then we'd know that each side is kind of about the same. So here you can see the head is down a little bit. We're a little bit underwater. Some of that might be the body position in the water. And then he goes to pick it up to breathe. Now, this looks pretty good. So even on his breathing side, typically we want to see 30 to 40 degrees off the plane. There we go. Of his shoulder, even when he's breathing. So that's typically the area that people get, stuck on. So then as we're recovering over here, take a look at this one. Yeah, about 43 maybe. Probably about closer to 40. So that looks pretty good. You can see kind of those errant foots and kicks kind of coming up in the back. That's all just kind of instability, him trying to kind of find a little bit more stability in the water. Now, when we go under here, so the first thing we can see, and the good thing about, you can see back there, so underwater down there, you can see how much his feet are coming apart. So that's always a sign of anytime you have a scissor kick, that is a symptom. It's not a cause. So for those of you that are trying to solve that by putting a band on your ankles, all you're doing is treating the symptom. You're not figuring out what the root cause of the problem is. And the root cause of the problem is just instability. And more than likely, it's at the front of the stroke or just a lack of core stability, core engagement. So you can see here, he's pretty good with this pull, a little bit. You can see the elbow drop a little bit right there. Let's see what this is. Typically, we want that to be somewhere between about 100 to 110 degrees. So he's about 120. But he does a pretty good job of driving that water to the wall behind him. So then we kind of come here. Let's see if we can see the right at all. So we're through again. And then here's it's pretty close together. Yeah, I've got another angle. We'll take a look at that. So then we'll go to the other side, take a look. So let's see. So here we go. Here's the other side. So one of the things you want to look at, so this is his right side. The head's a little bit down, so you can see kind of like, whoops, this is down. So probably if he could bring his chin up just a little bit, that would really help. It helped with body position too. So here looks like, it's pretty closed off. So you'd want this to be, down and in a little bit more. That's going to open up that angle, give him a little bit more leverage on the water. Let's see if we go, how about right there? See if we got any good. That looks good with the fingertips pointed down towards the bottom. So yeah, right at 100 right there. That one definitely looks better. You can kind of see the bubbles coming off of his hands there. Again, little indication of maybe some instability. And so, one of the things that we wanted to work on was, just make sure, hey, we get everything really straight. So we decided to kick with the brick. So you can see his hips are starting to come up. He's trying to hold the tension together, that tension in his body to create that line down the middle. And so here's kind of the difference between the two, between the first session and then the second session when we were working on it. And what we're trying to do. And look, this is all just these incremental baby steps that you got to do over and over and over again. And if you don't continue to do them, if you don't continue to focus on them and practice over and over again, yeah, you'll get these little kind of bumps, but they won't really go anywhere in the long run. It's got to be this sustained focus over months and months and practices, consistency after consistency is the way you get better at swimming. It's incredibly boring. It's incredibly difficult, but the end result can be really, really rewarding because you've really built a pretty tremendous skill. So as always, thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And I hope to see you in the pool soon.